Hello and welcome to this lab demonstration on using policy-based storage. At the beginning of this lab, we already need to be familiar with the concept of data stores, storage vMotion, and storage policies. In this lab, we will add data stores for use by policy-based storage. Then we will use vSphere storage vMotion to see how we can migrate a VM's storage. After that, we are going to configure some storage tags and create a couple of VM storage policies based on those tags. And finally, we will assign those storage policies to our VMs. I'm sure I provided you enough good reasons to watch the following video on using policy-based storage. So let's get started. In our task number 1, we at first need to create a couple of data stores by policy-based storage, which are going to be used by a policy-based storage. For doing that, we need to go to our menu, storage. Next, we need to right-click on our SA data center, and we are going to choose the storage option, and we are going to create a new data store. This data store will be the VMFS data store. Next, we need to apply a name to this data store. I'm gonna call my first data store as DS Gold. And then we need to select a host on which we are going to locate this data store. So I'm gonna choose SA ESXi 04. And according to our lab guide, we need to choose its FreeNAS iSCSI disk with capacity of 8 GB. FreeNAS, here it is. So I'm gonna choose it and I'm gonna click on next. Next, we need to choose the VMFS 6, the latest possible of those version of file system. Let's click on next. We do not need to configure any partitions on this particular data store. So let's click on next. And now let's verify that we are going to create a DS Gold data store type VMFS, and the data store size is 8 GB. It's located on a FreeNAS iSCSI disk with a size of 8 GB. So let's click on finish. Let's wait for a couple of seconds for this procedure to complete. And let's see that now we have a DS Gold data store ready for use. And now let's repeat those steps to create another one data store, which we are going to call DS Silver. Let's again right-click on our data center. Let's choose the storage new data store. Again, this will be the VMFS data store. I'm gonna call it DS Silver. Let me verify. Yes, DS Silver. Again, let's choose the same SA ESXi 04. And now, according to the lab guide, we need to choose the FreeNAS iSCSI disk with a size of 12 GB for this particular task. Let's click on next. Again, this will be the VMFS 6 data store. Again, we do not need to create any additional partitions. Let's click on next and let's verify that we are creating the DS Silver data store with a size of 12 GB and the VMFS as a type. Let's click on finish. Let's verify that our data store has been created, and now we can continue with our task number 2. Let's see whether our data stores can be used as the storage for our VMs. For doing that, we are going to migrate some test VM to our newly created data store. For doing that, we can choose menu, hosts and clusters, or we can choose just this particular icon here. I'm gonna choose the VM which is called Photon 01 VM, and I'm gonna migrate its data to our new data store. For doing that, I'm choosing this virtual machine. I'm right-clicking it. Then I need to find the section which is called migrate. Then I'm gonna choose the option which is change storage only here. So I'm going to migrate only the data of this VM. So to change storage only. Now I need to find my DS Gold data store, so I'm gonna migrate my VM to this particular data store. Then I need to click on Next. Let's verify that we are going to migrate, we are only changing the storage environment for this VM. Virtual machine Photon 01, storage DS Gold, and finish. Let's verify that the process can complete itself. Now it's completed, and let's verify. Let's choose our Photon VM01. Let's go to its data stores tab. And now we can see that all objects of this VM are located on DS Gold. It is the only relative data store to this particular VM right now. Next, what we are going to do next? We are going to create a couple of tags which can be used to identify, for example, some data stores with some high-level additional, maybe even non-technical information or idea behind those tags. So we are going to create a couple of tags. One will identify the gold tier storage, and the second will identify the silver tier storage. We will use those tags in some storage policies, VM storage policies, a couple of minutes later. So for creating those tags, we need to go to Menu. Here we need to find the section which is called Tags and Custom Attributes. Now we are going to create a new tag or a couple of tags with a new tag category. So I'm gonna create a new tag. Let's click on New. I'm gonna call this tag Gold Tier. Next, every tag must have a category to which this tag belongs. Currently, we do not have any categories created by us. So I'm gonna create a new category. So I need to click on Create New Category. I'm gonna call this category Storage Tiers. Let me verify it. Storage Tiers. Yes. So according to our task, this category must be called so, and we need to skip any other configuration options right now. So this storage tiers category can contain tags of any possible types. Let's click on Create. Let's verify that our category for our gold tier tag has changed to storage tiers. And let's click on Create. Now we need to repeat those steps. Besides of category creation, because it's already created, to create another tag. Let's click on New. Let's create a new tag, which is called Silver Tag. Let's choose our storage tiers category. Let's click on Create. And now we can see that our tags have been created, and our storage tiers category is also created. What we are going to do next, now we need to assign those tags to our storage. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go to a menu, Storage, and now we need to assign those tags. For doing that, let's, for example, choose our DS Gold data store first. I'm gonna right click on that, and here we can find a section which is called Tags and Custom Attributes. So we need to click on Assign Tag here. And now let's select the gold tier tag which we are going to apply to our DS Gold data store. Let's click on Assign. So next, let's assign a silver tier tag to our DS Silver data store. Again, let's right click on it, Tags and Custom Attributes, Assign Tag, Silver Tag. At this time, let's click on Assign. And now those tags are applied. So we can see if we click on DS Gold, we can see that it contains a tag Gold tier, and our DS Silver data store contains a tag Silver tag. Next, what we are going to do right now? Now we are going to create a VM storage policy, which is going to verify the tag, or I should say it will require its storage to have a particular tag. And it will show us the non-compliant status if its data store does not have a particular tag. So for doing that, I need to go to menu. Let's go to policies and profiles. Let's choose VM storage policies section on the right. And now we are going to create a new VM storage policy. We are going to call this policy Gold tier policy. Let's verify Gold tier policy. Let's click on next. Now we need to choose the policy structure for this particular storage policy. This policy is not the host-based policy, but it will contain tag-based placement rules, as I have previously mentioned. So let's choose the enable tag-based policy rules option here. Let's click on next. And now we need to create a rule for this particular policy. We need to select the tag category. This will be our storage tiers category. And now we need to click on browse tags to choose the particular tag for our policy. So we are going to use storage tagged with, and now we need to choose a tag, Gold tier. I see that I have named my Silver tag incorrectly, so I'm going to rename it in a couple of seconds. So let's choose Gold tier. We can do it. If we have done some mistakes, we can rename those tags. It's totally normal. So let's verify that we have chosen the Gold tier tag for our policy. Let's click on next. Now we can see that our DS Gold data store is compatible with this particular policy because we have chosen the particular tag and our DS Gold has that tag. Let's click on next. Let's click on finish. So here we are, our Gold tier policy has been created. Now let me go back to our tags and custom attributes. Let me find my Silver tag, which must be called Silver tier. Let's click on edit and let's rename it as Silver tier. Let's click on save. And let's verify that this name has changed on our data store. Let's go to a menu. Let's go to storage. Let's find our DS Silver, and now we can see that the tag has also changed here. Silver tier instead of Silver tag. Now we need to create another one storage policy for our Silver tier policy. We have created the Gold tier policy. Now we need to repeat those steps to create another one policy for Silver tier tag. Again, we need to go to a menu. Let's go to policies and profiles, VM storage policies. Now let's click on create VM storage policy again. Then let's call this storage policy Silver tier policy. Let's click on next. Again, the structure of this policy will be tag based. Let's click on next. We need to choose the tag category, storage tiers, use storage tagged with browse tags Let's choose our silver tier now. So let's click on next. Now we can see that we have a storage which is called DS Silver, which is compatible with this storage policy because it's tagged with a silver tier tag. Let's click on next. And let's click on finish. So now we have two storage policies created. So what we are going to do next, let's assign those policies to our virtual machines and verify whether they are compatible or not with those policies. So for doing that, we need to go to Menu, Hosts and Clusters. Let's unwrap our SA Compute 01 cluster and let's find our first VM, which is Photon 01 VM. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to assign a VM storage policy to it. For doing that, I need to right click on it. I need to find VM policies section, edit VM storage policies. And now I'm gonna change its VM storage policy from data store default to my gold tier policy. I have changed it. Let's click on OK. Now let's verify the compliance with this policy. Let's go to its summary tab. Now we need to scroll down until we find the storage policy pane here, and we can see that the policy applied to this VM is gold tier policy, and our VM is compliant with this policy because its files are located on a DS Gold data store, which is tagged with gold tier tag, which is the requirement of this particular policy. Now, let's choose our second VM, which is going to be Photon 02 VM. Again, let's right click on it and let's assign a VM policy to it, but now we are going to choose different storage policy. Edit VM storage policies. Now let's choose our our silver tier policy here and see what happens. Let's click on OK. Let's wait for a couple of seconds for this process to complete. Let me refresh the vSphere client. And now we can see that our Photon 02 VM is in a non-compliant state with the silver tier policy. Again, why did this happen? This happened because this particular policy, silver tier policy, requires our data store where these VM files are located. It requires that this data store has a particular tag, silver tier tag, but it does not. Let's verify the data stores of this VM. It's upscale data store, some other data store rather than our DS silver data store. And of course, this data store does not have a particular tag, so our virtual machine is non-compliant to its VM storage policy right now. Let's make it fit. Let's make it compliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna choose my Photon 02 VM, I'm gonna right click on it, and I'm gonna migrate it to this particular data store and verify the storage policy compliance again. So let's click on migrate. Let's choose that we are going to change only the storage location of this VM. Let's click on next. Now we can even see that only one data store is compatible with the currently applied VM storage policy. It's only DS Silver. Any other data stores are incompatible, but this one is compatible. So let's click on DS Silver. Compatibility checks succeeded. Let's click on next. Let's verify that we are going to change only the storage location and leave the VM on the original compute resource. We are going to migrate our Photon02 VM to DS Silver Data Store according to VM storage policy, Silver Tier policy. Let's click on Finish. And now we can see that our VM is in a compliant state right now, according to its Silver Tier policy. Let's verify the data store. Let's click on Data Stores tab, and now we can see that the only data store relative to our VM Photon02 is DS Silver. So our lab has been completed. Congratulations, you have completed the Using Policy-Based Storage lab demonstration video. During this lab, we saw how and where we can add data stores for use by policy-based storage, how we can use vSphere Storage vMotion to see how we can migrate a VM's storage, what do we need to do to create a VM storage policy and configure storage tags, and finally, how we can assign storage policies to VMs. Thank you for watching this lab demonstration video. I hope the knowledge acquired here will help you with your daily job assignments, and good luck as you continue your journey in VMware world.